Welcome to episode 3 of Excelsior, a first-hand perspective into New York City's justice system. Today we will discuss recidivism and the reforms that I think New York City should implement. I hope you enjoy. Even though we have concluded our story, there is still more to discuss about the criminal justice system. While New York City's recidivism rate has lowered, the incarceration and violent crime rates are higher than in most major cities. People still commit crimes after being in jail for a prolonged period because jail does not teach a convicted criminal how to act. Regardless of your opinion of criminals, it is a fact that successful rehabilitation lowers the crime rate. This means recidivism should be a major consideration when creating policies surrounding the justice system. Recidivism is also important because crime costs the state a substantial amount of money. Each day a defendant spends at Rikers Island costs the city of New York $1,500, and 1 year costs $556,000. In total, incarceration is one of the highest costs that the state government has, meaning your taxes cannot go into causes that you find important. While I think that jail has its purposes, in my opinion, it is overused by judges. I believe that the state should expand the use of rehabilitation courts. Each court session costs $50 per day they are in session. If the courts are in session once per week, that would cost the city of New York $2,600 per court per year. Even if the courts meet once per day, which is a little bit extreme, it would cost the city of New York $18,200 per court per year. This is significantly lower than jailing defendants at Rikers Island. While rehabilitation courts cannot be applied to all defendants, everyone who can go to one should. However, I also believe that some crimes are too violent for solely rehabilitation, and there should be a period of time in jail that will show the public that people will be punished for committing that action. Every expert that I talk to believe that people do not want to commit crimes. Most have a physical need for the products of their crime, or have a mental health issue that forces them to act in a certain way. Instead of assuming that all criminals are bad people, we should think of some criminals as people who need help. If we look at crime from a place of compassion, it will change the way we act. The final bit of reform that I think would benefit the public is limiting the bail bonds industry. I think that bail bonds should not be a privatized industry. The contracts and loans should be between the state and the defendant. This will allow for a standardization of the industry and make sure no one can exploit defendants by making them sign for extreme release conditions. It will also raise money for the state, which will increase funding for other projects that desperately need it. While instituting these reforms will be hard to do, it will allow the justice system to be fairer. However, I think that these reforms are relatively cheap and easily executable. Making the system fairer will allow the process to bring the highest degree of justice for everybody. Thank you to everyone who listened to my series, Excelsior, a first-hand perspective into New York City's justice system. I would also like to thank everyone who helped me with interviews and creative support. Please see a list of my sources in the episode description.